Part 1. The Unexpected Visitor. It was another quiet night at the Ocean Research Lab. Lisa had been working there for 3 years, studying sea creatures and their behavior patterns. She loved her job, even though it meant staying up late many nights. Watching computer screens and checking equipment readings, the clock on her desk showed 3:47 in the morning. Lisa rubbed her tired eyes and took another sip of cold coffee. Outside, she could hear the waves crashing against the rocky shore. It was peaceful, just the way she liked it. But then something strange happened. Computers started beeping loudly. All the screens lit up with bright red warnings. Lisa had never seen anything like this before. The electromagnetic sensors were going crazy, showing readings that shouldn't be possible. "What's happening?" she whispered to herself, clicking. Through different screens, the numbers kept climbing higher and higher. Something big was moving underwater. Something much larger than any whale or ship she had ever tracked. The beeping got louder and more urgent. Lisa stood up quickly, knocking over her coffee mug. The dark liquid spilled across her desk, but she didn't care. Whatever was out there was getting closer to the shore. She grabbed her flashlight and jacket, then rushed outside into the cool night air. The wind was stronger than usual, and dark clouds covered most of the stars. Lisa walked toward the water, her heart beating fast with excitement and worry. As she got closer to the beach, she noticed something glowing beneath the waves. It wasn't like anything she had seen before. The light was pale blue and seemed to pulse like a heartbeat. Then, suddenly, the glow disappeared completely. Lisa waited, watching the water carefully. Minutes passed and nothing happened. She started to think maybe it was just a computer error. But then she heard a sound that made her blood run cold. It was a soft splash, followed by what sounded like someone trying to breathe. Lisa pointed her flashlight toward the sound and couldn't believe what she saw. A figure was crawling out of the water onto the sandy beach. At first, Lisa thought it might be a swimmer in trouble. But as the person got closer, she realized this was no ordinary human being. The figure was tall, much taller than any person Lisa had ever met. Even crawling on the sand, it was clear this being would be at least 7 feet tall when standing. But that wasn't the strangest part. The skin looked different, almost like you could see through it. Strange patterns moved beneath the surface, like veins but glowing with a faint light. The arms and legs were longer than normal, and the hands had fingers that seemed too thin and delicate. Lisa stood frozen, not knowing whether to run or help. The being was clearly struggling, making weak sounds as it tried to move further up the beach. Every few seconds, it would stop and rest, as if even the simple act of breathing was difficult. Then the being looked up. Lisa saw its face clearly for the first time. The eyes were huge, much larger than human eyes, and completely black. But they weren't scary or threatening. Instead, they looked sad and desperate. It's like someone who was in terrible pain. The being tried to speak, but the words came out broken and unclear. Lisa could only understand a few words at first. Something about being hungry, about needing help. Lisa's scientific training told her to be careful, to call for backup or run away. But her human heart saw someone in trouble, someone who needed help immediately. She took a few steps closer, keeping her flashlight low so it wouldn't blind the being. "Are you hurt?" she asked softly, the same way she would talk to an injured animal. The being's head turned toward her voice. It tried to speak again, and this time Lisa could understand more words. The voice was strange, like it was coming from far away, but also somehow speaking directly inside her head. "Please," the being said, each word seeming to take great effort. "I must, ... I must feed. Can you ... Can you satisfy me?" Lisa felt a chill run down her spine. The words were simple, but something about the way they were said made her feel both scared and sorry for this strange visitor. The being wasn't threatening her. It was asking for help. Like someone who was starving might ask for food. Looking past the being toward the water, Lisa could see parts of something large and metallic sticking out of the waves. It looked like some kind of vehicle or ship, but unlike anything built on Earth, pieces of it were scattered along the shoreline. It's clearly damaged beyond repair. The being followed her gaze and made a sound that might have been crying. "My ship," it said sadly. "Broken. Cannot go home. Cannot call for help." Lisa knelt down in the sand, keeping a safe distance but showing she wanted to help. "What do you need?" she asked gently. "What kind of food?" "Water." The being shook its head weakly. "Not food like you know. I need ... energy. Life energy. Without it, I will fade away." Lisa didn't fully understand what that meant, but she could see that whatever this being was, it was getting weaker by the minute. The glowing patterns under its skin were becoming dimmer. Its breathing was getting more difficult. She made a decision that would change her life forever. Instead of running away or calling the authorities, Lisa decided to try to help this. A strange visitor from another world. She didn't know what life energy meant, but she was determined to figure it out. "Okay," she said, surprising herself with how calm her voice sounded. "Let's get you somewhere safe first. Then we'll figure out how to help you." The being looked at her with those huge dark eyes, and for the first time, Lisa thought she saw a tiny bit of hope in them. Part 2. Understanding the hunger. Lisa helped the weak being move slowly toward her research building. Each step seemed to drain more energy from the mysterious visitor. By the time they reached the lab, the glowing patterns under its skin had become so dim they were barely visible. Inside the warm building, Lisa quickly cleared a space on the floor and found some blankets to make the being more comfortable. She grabbed bottles of water, energy bars, and even some fish from her research samples, thinking maybe it would need regular food after all. "Try this," Lisa offered, holding out a bottle of water. But when the being reached for it, something strange happened. The moment their fingers touched, Lisa felt a tiny shock, like static electricity, but warmer. The being pulled its hand back quickly. "No," it said, shaking its head sadly. "Water cannot help me. Normal food cannot help me. My body works differently than yours." Lisa sat down across from the being, studying its face carefully. That they were inside under better lighting, she could see more details. The skin wasn't just see-through in some places. There were intricate patterns running throughout, like a roadmap of light that was slowly fading away. "What's your name?" Lisa asked, trying to make the being feel more comfortable. "My people call me Kira," the being replied, its voice still seeming to come from inside Lisa's head as much as from its mouth. "What do your people call you, Lisa?" "I study ocean life here." She gestured around the lab filled with computers and fish tanks. "Kira, can you help me understand what you need? You said something about life energy?" Kira nodded weakly and tried to sit up straighter. "On my world, we do not eat like you do. Share energy with other living things. Plants, animals even. The air itself, everything has energy flowing through it." Lisa leaned forward, fascinated despite her worry. "Like electricity? Similar, but more complex," Kira explained. "Every living thing creates patterns of energy. Your heart beating, your brain thinking, your blood moving. All of this creates energy that my people can sense and share." "Share?" Lisa asked, not sure she understood. Kira's large eyes looked directly at her. "We do not take energy by force. On my world, it is given freely. Animals and plants share their energy with us, and we share our knowledge and protection with them. Everyone benefits." Lisa tried to process this information. "So you're saying you need to somehow connect with living things to get energy? Like the way plants need sunlight?" "Yes, very much like that," Kira said, seeming pleased that Lisa understood. "But I have been traveling in space for many months. There are no living things between the stars. My ship carried stored energy, but it is all gone now." "Wonkin, you survive without this energy?" Lisa asked, though she was afraid of the answer. Kira looked down at the dimming patterns on her arms. "Not long, maybe 2 days, perhaps 3. Without energy, my body will simply stop working." Lisa felt a weight of responsibility settling on her shoulders. This being had somehow traveled across impossible distances only to crash on Earth and face death from starvation. And now Lisa was the only person who knew about it. "What about electricity from my equipment?" Lisa suggested. "I have generators, batteries, all kinds of electrical devices." Kira shook her head. "I tried that first when my ship began failing. The energy from your machines is too simple, too flat. Life energy has patterns, rhythms, complexity that machines cannot create. Lisa walked over to one of her fish tanks. Watching the tropical fish swimming in circles. What about these? Would they have the right kind of energy? Perhaps, Kira said, but there was something sad in her voice. Small creatures like fish have simple energy patterns. They might help. A little, but not enough to truly restore me. And I would not want to harm them for such little benefit. You would harm them? Lisa asked, suddenly worried. No, Kira said quickly. The sharing process does not hurt the other creature. But if their energy is too small and I am too desperate, I might take too much without meaning to. It would be like you eating the last food in your house when others need it too. Lisa nodded, understanding the moral problem Kira faced. She was clearly someone or something with strong principles, even when facing death. What about larger animals? Lisa asked. Dolphins, whales, they're very intelligent. Kira's eyes brightened slightly. Larger creatures do have more complex energy patterns, intelligent ones even more so. But they would need to be willing participants. Forcing the connection would harm both them and me. Lisa thought about this problem while she made them both some tea. Even though Kira couldn't drink it, the warm steam seemed to make her more comfortable. What about humans? Lisa finally asked the question she had been avoiding. Kira looked at her with those huge dark eyes. Human energy is very complex, very rich. One willing human could provide enough energy to restore me completely. But but what? But the connection would be deeper than with animals. Your people and mine have never shared energy before. I do not know what might happen to you. It could be dangerous. Lisa set down her teacup and studied Kira's face. The being was clearly getting weaker, even during their conversation. The patterns under her skin were now so dim that Lisa had to look carefully to see them at all. Someone was willing to try, Lisa said slowly. What would happen exactly? Kira was quiet for a long moment. The person would need to remain very still and calm. I would place my hands near them, not touching, just close enough to sense their energy patterns. Then, I would gradually begin to match those patterns and draw some of the energy into myself. Would it hurt? No, it should not hurt. You might feel tired afterward, the way you do after running or working hard. But if something goes wrong, if I take too much, or if our energies do not match well, Kira shrugged helplessly. Lisa looked around her lab at all the equipment she had spent years learning to use, at the research that had been her whole life until tonight. None of it seemed very important anymore compared to saving someone's life. How long would it take? She asked. Kira studied her face carefully. Are you thinking of offering yourself? Lisa took a deep breath. I'm thinking about it, yes. It process would take perhaps an hour. But Lisa, you must understand this has never been tried between our species before. I cannot promise it will be safe for you. Part 3. The desperate solution. Lisa stared at Kira for a long moment, watching the alien being grow weaker before her eyes. The decision she was considering could change everything, but doing nothing meant watching someone die right in front of her. I need to call my research partner, Lisa finally said. Maybe between the two of us, we can figure out a safer way to help you. She picked up her phone and dialed David's number. He lived just 20 minutes away and had been her closest colleague for 2 years. If anyone would believe this incredible a situation, it would be him. Lisa, it's 4 in the morning. Is everything okay? David's sleepy voice came through the speaker. David, I need you to come to the lab right away. Something amazing has happened, but I can't explain it over the phone. Just trust me and come quickly. There was a pause. Are you in danger? Lisa looked at Kira, who was now lying on her side, breathing slowly and carefully. No, I'm not in danger. But someone else might be if we don't act fast. I'll be there in 15 minutes, David said without asking any more questions. While they waited, Lisa tried to make Kira more comfortable. She brought pillows and adjusted the room temperature. Kira seemed grateful, but was clearly saving her energy for breathing. Tell me more about your world, Lisa said, hoping to keep Kira awake and talking. Kira's voice was getting weaker, but she managed a small smile. It is very different from here. We have 3 suns, so it is never completely dark. The trees grow in spirals and sing when the wind blows through them. The oceans are purple and full of creatures that glow like living jewels. It sounds beautiful, Lisa said. Do you have a family there? Yes. A partner and 2 young ones. They think I am exploring distant stars to find new energy sources for our people. Kira's eyes became sad. Our world is dying, Lisa. The energy sources we have always depended on are fading away. That is why I volunteered for this mission. Lisa felt a pang of sympathy. Kira wasn't just an explorer or scientist. She was a parent trying to save her world and her children's future. When David arrived, Lisa met him at the door to prepare him for what he was about to see. Even with the warning, his face went completely white when he saw Kira lying on the lab floor. "This is real," he whispered, staring in amazement. "This is actually real." Lisa quickly explained everything that had happened and what Kira needed to survive. David listened without interrupting, his scientific mind processing the incredible information. "So she needs bioelectrical energy from living organisms," David summarized. "Our equipment can't provide the right type of energy signature." "Exactly," Lisa said. "I've been thinking about using myself as an energy source, but Kira says it's never been tried between our species before." David shook his head firmly. "Absolutely not. I don't know what it could do to you. Let me try some experiments with the lab equipment first." For the next hour, David worked frantically with various machines, trying to create energy patterns that might help Kira. He connected sensors to plants, recorded electrical patterns from the fish tanks, and even tried to amplify Lisa's own bioelectric field using laboratory amplifiers. Nothing worked. The energy patterns were either too simple or too distorted by the equipment. Each failed attempt left Kira weaker than before. "The machines changed the natural patterns too much," Kira explained weakly, like trying to eat a photograph of food instead of real food. David sat down heavily in his chair, frustrated. "There has to be another way." "What about bringing in some larger animals? I know people who work with dolphins." "It would take too long," Lisa said, checking the time. It was already past 6 in the morning, and Kira had been getting steadily worse. "And we'd have to explain why we need them. This situation is too important to risk having officials take over." Kira tried to sit up, but barely managed to lift her head. They said, "David, I am grateful for your efforts, but I can feel my strength fading. Soon, I will not be strong enough to participate in the energy sharing, even if we find a way." At her friend David, then back at Kira. The being who had fallen from the stars was dying. They were running out of time and options. "What are the real risks if I try to help her?" Lisa asked David directly. "I need to know the truth." David ran his hands through his hair, clearly struggling with the decision. "We don't know. The energy transfer might drain you completely. It might affect your nervous system. In the worst case, it could stop your heart. But it might also save her life and give us incredible scientific knowledge," Lisa countered. "Kira's people have technology that could help Earth. They understand energy in ways we can't imagine." Kira spoke up weakly. "Lisa, I would never forgive myself if I harmed you. Please do not risk your life for mine." But Lisa had already made her decision. She thought about Kira's children back on that distant world with 3 suns and singing trees. She thought about the scientific discoveries that could be lost forever. Most importantly, she thought about her own conscience and whether she could live with herself if she let someone die when she might have been able to help. "I'm going to do it," Lisa announced. "But we're going to be as safe as possible." David immediately began protesting, but Lisa held up her hand to stop him. "David, I need you to monitor my vital signs throughout the process. Set up the medical equipment to track my heart rate, brain activity, everything. If anything looks dangerous, you stop the process immediately." David realized he couldn't change her mind. With obvious reluctance, he began setting up the monitoring equipment they used for marine animal research. Lisa helped Kira sit up against some pillows. Even this small movement seemed to exhaust the alien being. "Are you absolutely sure about this?" Kira asked, looking into Lisa's eyes. Lisa took a deep breath and nodded. "Tell me exactly what I need to do." Kira explained the process carefully, Lisa would need to sit very still and try to keep her mind calm and open. Kira would place her hands near Lisa's head and chest, close enough to sense her energy patterns, but not touching. The actual energy transfer would happen gradually over about 30 minutes. If you feel pain or dizziness, tell me immediately, Kira warned. I will stop right away. Lisa positioned herself in a comfortable chair while David finished connecting the monitoring sensors to her body. Her heart was racing with nervousness, but she tried to breathe slowly and calmly. Ready? Kira asked, positioning her long, thin hands about 6 inches away from Lisa's head. Lisa looked at David, who gave her a worried nod, then back at Kira.
Let's do this.
Part 4. The connection. Lisa closed her eyes and tried to calm her racing heart. She could feel Kira's hands hovering near her head, not quite touching, but close enough that she could sense their warmth. David sat at the computer monitor, watching the readouts of Lisa's vital signs with intense focus. I can feel your energy patterns, Kira said softly, her voice filled with wonder. They are so different from my people, yet beautiful in their own way, like music I have never heard before. First, Lisa felt nothing unusual. She concentrated on breathing slowly and keeping her mind peaceful. But then, gradually, she began to notice a strange tingling sensation, like gentle electricity flowing through her body.
Ow. How are you feeling?
David asked, checking the monitors every few seconds. Strange, but not bad, Lisa replied honestly. It's like when you put your tongue on a small battery, but warmer and all over my body. Kira's breathing became a little stronger as the process continued. The fading patterns under her skin began to glow slightly brighter. It is working, she whispered gratefully. Your energy is so rich, so complex. I have never experienced anything like it. As more minutes passed, something unexpected began to happen. Lisa started seeing flashes of images in her mind that weren't her own memories. She saw vast purple oceans under 3 bright suns, cities built from what looked like living crystal, and creatures that moved through the air like swimming fish. Kira, Lisa said, her voice filled with amazement, I'm seeing things. Are these your memories? Kira paused the energy transfer for a moment, looking surprised. That should not be happening. The connection is much deeper than I expected. Are the visions disturbing to you? No, they're incredible, Lisa said. It's like watching the most beautiful movie ever made. Is that really your world? Yes, Kira said, resuming the gentle energy flow. You are seeing my home through my eyes. This deep connection has never happened with other species before. David looked worried as he watched the brain activity monitors. Lisa, your neural patterns are doing something completely new. I'm seeing activity in parts of your brain that are usually dormant, but Lisa wasn't concerned. The visions were becoming clearer and more detailed. She saw Kira's family. Her partner was tall and graceful like Kira, with skin that shimmered like oil on water. Their 2 children were smaller versions of their parents, playing in gardens where flowers sang in harmony with the wind. Your children are beautiful, Lisa said, tears forming in her eyes from the emotional intensity of the shared memories. Thank you, Kira replied, and Lisa could feel the aliens' deep love for her family flowing through their connection. They are the reason I took this dangerous journey. Our world needs new energy sources, or they will have no future. Through the mental link, Lisa began to understand the true crisis facing Kira's people. Their planet's natural energy sources were failing after thousands of years of use. The beautiful singing trees were falling silent. The glowing creatures in the purple oceans were becoming dim and lifeless. Without new sources of energy, their entire civilization would slowly fade away. That's why you came all this way, Lisa realized. You're not just exploring, you're trying to save your whole species. Yes, Kira confirmed. But I was only supposed to observe Earth from a distance and report back. My ship was damaged by something in your solar system, debris or radiation that my people did not expect. The energy transfer continued. Lisa found herself experiencing not just Kira's visual memories, but her emotions as well. She felt the desperation of leaving her family behind, the fear of traveling alone through the vast emptiness of space, and the terror of crashing on an unknown world. But she also felt Kira's amazement at discovering Earth's incredible diversity of life Through Kira's senses, Lisa could perceive the energy patterns of every living thing around them. The simple rhythms of the fish in the tanks, the complex networks of bacteria in the soil, even the steady pulse of David's concern as he monitored their procedure. "This is how you see the world," Lisa marveled. "Everything is connected by energy patterns. It's like being able to see music." "Exactly," Kira said, pleased that Lisa understood. "Energy is the language that all life speaks. Your people focus on the physical forms, but we see the energy that gives those forms meaning." 30 minutes into the process, Kira was visibly stronger. The patterns under her skin were now glowing brightly, and she was sitting up without difficulty. But the mental connection between them was growing stronger too. Lisa began receiving more complex information, not just memories, but knowledge. She understood concepts about energy manipulation that Earth scientists hadn't even theorized yet. She saw mathematical equations that could solve energy problems her own world faced. "Kira, you're sharing your scientific knowledge with me," Lisa said in amazement. "I cannot control it," Kira admitted. "The connection between us has become much stronger than I intended. Her mind is absorbing information from mine without either of us directing it." David noticed changes in the equipment readings. "Lisa, something else is happening. I'm detecting unusual electromagnetic activity around both of you. The air itself seems to be carrying electrical charges." Indeed, there was now a faint glow surrounding both Lisa and Kira. The connection between them had become visible as streams of soft light that flowed back and forth between their bodies. "Is this dangerous?" Lisa asked, though she felt wonderful, more energized and aware than ever before in her life. "I do not know," Kira said honestly. "This has never happened before. We may be creating something entirely new between our species." Through their shared consciousness, Lisa could sense that Kira's people were more than just desperate refugees looking for energy sources. They were peaceful explorers who had spent thousands of years learning to work in harmony with other forms of life. Their entire culture was based on cooperation and mutual benefit. But she also sensed something troubling. Kira's mission had a time limit. Her people were expecting a signal from her within days. If they didn't hear from her, they would assume she had been lost or captured, and they might approach Earth very differently. "Your people are coming here anyway, aren't they?" Lisa realized. "Yes," Kira confirmed sadly. "If they do not hear from me soon, they will send a rescue fleet. But without my peaceful contact report, they will be prepared for conflict instead of cooperation." Lisa understood the implications immediately. Earth's first contact with an alien civilization could go very well or very badly, depending on what happened in the next few days. As the energy transfer reached completion, Lisa felt completely changed. The knowledge she had gained from Kira would take years to fully understand. But more importantly, she now carried the responsibility of representing her entire species in humanity's first interstellar relationship. "The transfer is complete," Kira announced, her strength fully restored. "But Lisa, I fear we have created something much more significant than either of us intended." Lisa opened her eyes and looked at her friend David, who was staring at both of them in amazement. She could still sense Kira's thoughts and emotions, though not as strongly as during the transfer. "What happens now?" David asked. Lisa stood up, feeling perfectly fine, but fundamentally changed. She looked at Kira, who was now glowing with health and energy. Then at the broken pieces of alien technology scattered along the beach outside. "Now," Lisa said, "we figure out how to save 2 worlds instead of just 1. Part 5. The choice that changes everything. The sun was rising over the ocean as Lisa, David and Kira sat in the research lab trying to process everything that had happened. Kira was now fully restored, her skin glowing with healthy patterns of light. But the mental connection she shared with Lisa had revealed a much bigger problem than anyone had imagined. "How long do we have before your people arrive?" Lisa asked, still feeling strange echoes of Kira's thoughts in her mind. 3 days, maybe 4, Kira replied, looking worried. "They are traveling in ships much faster than mine when they arrive. And find my crashed vessel, they will assume the worst." David paced around the lab, trying to understand the situation. "So Earth is about to have its first contact with aliens, but they'll be expecting trouble instead of friendship. Exactly, Kira said sadly. My people are peaceful, but they are also very protective. If they think I was attacked or captured, they will approach your world as a threat to be neutralized, not as potential partners. Lisa stood up and walked to the window, watching the waves crash against the shore where Kira's broken ship still lay partially buried in the sand. The knowledge she had gained during their connection was overwhelming. She now understood energy, concepts that could revolutionize Earth's technology. But she also knew that none of it would matter if the first meeting between their species went wrong. We need to send a message to your people, Lisa said, turning back to face them. We need to tell them you're safe and that Earth wants to be friends. My communication equipment was destroyed in the crash, Kira explained. Be away. The mental connection we formed is stronger than anything I have experienced before. It might be possible to use it to send a signal across space. David looked skeptical. You're talking about using Lisa's brain as some kind of radio transmitter? Not exactly, Kira said, trying to find words to explain something that didn't exist in human language. Think of it more like two instruments that have learned to play in harmony. Lisa's energy patterns are now partially synchronized with mine. My people might be able to detect that signal if we amplify it correctly. Lisa felt a mixture of excitement and fear. What would I need to do? We would need to recreate the connection, but this time, focus all the energy outward instead of between us, Kira explained. It would be like sending your thoughts directly to my home world, carried by energy patterns my people will recognize. David immediately objected. Lisa, you don't know what that could do to you. The first connection was already beyond anything we understand. Trying to amplify it and send it across space could be incredibly dangerous. But Lisa was already thinking about the bigger picture. Through her link with Kira, she had sensed the dying world with its 3 sons, the desperate families hoping for salvation, and the rescue fleet that was now speeding toward Earth with military preparations. If we don't try, what happens? Lisa asked. Kira's people arrive expecting a fight. Earth's governments panic when they detect alien ships. Everything spirals into conflict before anyone has a chance to explain. She walked over to Kira and took her hands, feeling the immediate spark of connection between them. I can sense your people through our link, can't I? I can feel them out there, worried about you. Kira nodded, tears forming in her large dark eyes. Yes, and they can probably sense that something has changed about my energy signature, but they do not know what it means. David realized he couldn't change Lisa's mind, just as he couldn't stop her from helping Kira in the first place. If we're going to do this, we need to be as careful as possible. Let me set up more monitoring equipment. For the next several hours, they prepared for what might be the most important communication in human history. David connected every piece of monitoring equipment in the lab to track Lisa's vital signs. They moved to the beach near Kira's crashed ship, thinking that the alien technology might help amplify their signal. As the sun reached its highest point in the sky, Lisa and Kira sat facing each other on the sand. The mental connection between them immediately reactivated. But this time Lisa could sense something far beyond Earth's atmosphere. I can feel them, Lisa whispered in amazement. Your people, they're out there in the darkness between stars, traveling toward us, and we must reach out to them, Kira said. Focus your thoughts on peace, on friendship, on the beauty of cooperation between our worlds. Lisa closed her eyes and concentrated. Through the connection, she projected images of Earth's incredible diversity of life, the cooperation between different species in nature, and humanity's capacity for wonder and learning. She shared her own feelings of amazement at meeting Kira, her desire to help, her hope for friendship between their peoples. The effort was exhausting, Lisa felt. Like she was trying to shout across an impossible distance while carrying the weight of 2 entire worlds on her shoulders. But gradually she began to sense a response. Far out in space, the rescue fleet had detected something unprecedented. The energy signature they associated with Kira was somehow intertwined with patterns they had never encountered before. These new patterns didn't feel threatening. Instead, they conveyed concepts of welcome, curiosity, and peaceful intention. They are receiving the message, Kira said, her voice filled with hope. But they are confused. They need to understand more clearly. Lisa pushed harder, sharing not just her own thoughts, but the collective human experience of scientific discovery, its artistic creation, and the deep desire to explore and understand the universe. She showed them humanity's dreams of reaching the stars, of meeting other intelligent life, of learning from civilizations beyond Earth. The response came like a warm wave washing over her mind. Kira's people were not just receiving the message, they were beginning to understand it. The rescue fleet was slowing down, changing course to approach Earth peacefully rather than defensively. "It's working," David called out, watching readings on his equipment that showed energy patterns unlike anything ever recorded on Earth. "Whatever you're doing, it's creating electromagnetic effects that are definitely reaching beyond our atmosphere." But the effort was taking a severe toll on Lisa. Her energy was being broadcast across impossible distances, stretched thin between Earth and the approaching alien ships. She felt herself becoming weaker as more of her life force was required. "To maintain the cosmic connection, Lisa, you must stop," Kira said, sensing the dangerous drain on her human friend. "You have given enough. My people understand now." "No," Lisa insisted, though she could barely speak. "I need to show them everything about us, all the good things humanity can offer." Through sheer determination, Lisa managed to share one final powerful message. She projected humanity's greatest achievements in art, music, and science. She showed them Earth's incredible biodiversity and the potential for cooperation between species who had never met before. Most importantly, she conveyed the simple message that Earth welcomed their friendship. When the connection finally ended, Lisa collapsed on the sand, completely exhausted but smiling. Kira knelt beside her, checking to make sure she was okay. "Did they understand?" Lisa asked weakly. Kira's face was radiant with joy. They understood perfectly. "The fleet is now approaching as explorers and potential friends, not as a rescue force expecting conflict. You have just prevented a war and possibly created the most important alliance in the history of both our worlds." David helped Lisa sit up, amazed by what he had witnessed. "So what happens now?" Lisa looked up at the sky, knowing that somewhere, beyond the blue atmosphere, ships from another world were coming to Earth with peaceful intentions instead of fearful ones. The knowledge she had gained from Kira would help humanity prepare for this incredible meeting.
Ow.
"Now we get ready to welcome our new neighbors," Lisa said, "and we start building a friendship that could last for thousands of years." 3 days later, when the first alien ships appeared in Earth's skies, humanity was ready. The initial contact was peaceful, successful, and marked the beginning of a new chapter in the history of both species. And it all started with a simple question from a starving alien woman who had asked if someone could satisfy her hunger. The answer, as it turned out, was yes, but the satisfaction went far beyond what anyone had ever imagined possible.